This is the fourth video of project one. So in this session we will cover the more detail in the project one. So let's recap what we have completed it. So I'm going to run the stuff which I have completed in the last session. So in the last session we saw how to navigate from one view controller to another view controller. Now more logic. Let's add more logic inside this project. So first of all, let's do some design stuff, improve the design stuff. So for that I'm going to open a storyboard, and we learn here some concepts about the auto layout. So see, this is our first text field. Tap here, and top constraints. This is the top constraints from here to here. This is the 66, so let's put it 66, and left and right it is 17. I think it is fine. So left and right, and the height is 34. Now let's see how it works. This text field from the top 66 pixel, and from left 17 pixel, and from right 17 pixel, and its uh, height is 34 pixels. So it's sufficient to place this text field in the proper location. So now let's add these four constraints. Now for this again we need to add the constraints. And now the trick is, for this we need to we can add the relative constraints based on this. So that we can add txt password constraints, like the how many pixels below the txt username. So let's select this one and tap here. So see, this is the 14 pixel it is showing. So this is the spacing from the txt username, first text field. So it is fine. Now left, we need to put 17, and for the right also 17, because it will align the same as the txt username. And again, rather than putting 19 pixel from the below, it would be more appropriate approach to put the height of this text field. Now the see how it works. So 14 pixel from the txt username, 14 pixel below from the txt username, and the left spacing is 17, fine. Right spacing is trailing space is 17, and its height itself is 34. So these constraints will be sufficient to put this text field inside this view. So I have added this one. Now next one is the login button. So this button constraints can be also added with respect to, with reference to txt password. So let's again select the btn login and tap here. Now see, left and right I'm going to put 17, right is also 17, and this spacing let's leave it as it 19 dp, and height as a 35. Now see how it works. Now we can change these constraints also. So you can change any of these by selecting here. There is the different constraints you can change. See, trailing constraint is 17. You can mark here when I select here. This is the 17, and this one is 17. That's fine. Height is 34. You can mark here while I am selecting. See, height is, where is height is 34, and spacing this one 14, this one is 14, so it's fine. And now what is this? Align top spacing 66. You can change this spacing from here also. You can put 50, something like that. and it should work. So you can update that one. For now let's put 66. Now again you can select this one. Again you can see the right alignment is 17, left leading space is 17, height is 34, and the spacing from the bottom is 19. So we can make same like this. This spacing is 14, so we can make same, so it will be better. Now let's run. So how it looks in the simulator emulator. So see, now it is quite better. Okay, and now let's move on the coding part again. So I'm going to close the main storyboard. So now we have the home BC, and now what I'm planning is to take an input from the login screen, and based on the username and password I'm planning to move in the next screen. So so let's see. First of all, we need to capture the whatever we give here as an input. So let's write some code. So I'm taking a username. Let username equal to self.txt username dot text, and let password equal to self.txt password dot text, and I'm planning to move in the next screen if and only if username is Chandra and password is Chandra. So I'm going to write a if statement. Username equal to Chandra and password equal to Chandra. Then only let's move on the next screen. Otherwise we need to display some message. For now let's put print you are not valid user. Okay, so that's it for now. Let's run it and see how it behaves. So I'm not going to put anything here, and I have tapped you are not valid user. Now let me give something. You are not valid user. Now let me put a correct username and password. Again it is not valid because this is capital letter, and this is also capital. Let me change it. Okay, now it is valid. Now first thing, let's change the few things. When I try to tap here, you have realized that even I type a small letter, it is going to change to capital. So let's fix this issue first. So first issue is we didn't need auto correction, so we can change those stuff. See, this is the username capitalization, and where is the correction you can set it no, and same for password also. But the one more thing in the password is this should be secure, because when I type here password it should not be visible. So for this select secure text entry. Now let's check how it shows in our emulator, sorry, in simulator. Okay, so okay, now I think this is fine, so we are moving. So if I type wrong password, then I can see here. Now let's improve a bit more. So whenever we put the wrong password, we want to display some kind of information in the screen. So for that, See, I have already commented the code. Let me uncomment it and copy it. Command X, Command V. Okay. So we are going to use a one UI alert controller. Where is the title message, and this is the message: invalid username or password, and the preferred style is right now alert. I will come with the more detail about the alert view controller in the next tutorial. For now, let's use this one. So um, we have the alert view controller is variable of alert view. Now next statement is we are going to add one button inside that alert view, and title of that button is okay, and the default style of that button is default, and there is no handler. We can add the more control here by adding the code inside the handler. I will cover those stuffs in separate video. For now, we have added the one button of name OK of style default with no handler related code inside the UI alert controller, and we are presenting that controller inside this above this view controller. So alert and the animation is animated is true. Let's see how it works in the simulator. So let's put anything here. See, okay, so it is working fine. So let me put a correct username and correct password, Chandra, and I moved here. Okay, so now let's manage the code. This is not a proper way to do coding in the professional way. So actually we need to use the concept of either class or the structure. So that is the some kind of model. So from this scenario we understand that we should have a one model of name user, and user may have the two attributes at least, username and password. So let's work on it, then I will explain later. So let me create one more group, new group, model, and I'm going to create one Swift file. So let me name it user, and now struct. I'm going to create the structure, not a class. Struct user. User will have for now let's add only two variable, username of type string and password of type string. Okay, that's it. Now let's move on the home BC again. So now I'm going to initialize that. So let user equal to user parameterized constructor will be accessible here, self dot txt username dot text, and password is self dot txt password dot text. Now see, we have this one. Now I can see the few things here. See, so the I can see this self.txt user name.text will may give us the nil value. So the some kind of the scenario like if I tap on the login button without giving any text, then at that time there may be the chance of getting the nil value. So in that case, what we prefer to save inside the username, that should be handled here. It will be better approach to handle here. So if I get any nil value, then let's save empty as a username, And same here, if I get a nil password, then let's say a empty password inside the user. Okay, let me remove this one. Now I need to modify if statement also. So these logics actually validation of the username and password. It is preferable to move this logic inside the model, not inside the view controller. So I'm going to write here the one method func is valid user takes nothing, gives boolean return, and I'm going to return username equal to Sandra and password equal to Sandra. Okay, this will give us the true or false. So if username is Chandra and the password is Chandra, then this function will return the true value, otherwise false. So let's use this method rather than writing the more detailed code inside the home BC. So simply I can erase this one. User dot is valid user, and it should work exactly same like previous. Okay, so see, invalid username or password. Okay, Sandra, any random password, invalid username or password. Let me put a correct password here. Okay, now it is working. So I have managed the code. Otherwise, everything was okay previously also. Now what I want is I want to pass those informations like the whatever I gave the input here, username and password. I want to print the my username inside this view controller. So the see here, we have the user variable, and it holds the username and password both. And if by any mechanism, if I could pass this user inside the another view controller, that is the view controller name is my info BC, then I can print the username or the password based on our requirement. So let's work on that part. So first of all, in the my info BC, there must be the one variable which holds the user. So let me create one variable where user, which is supposed to type user, and it may be nil. Let's declare like that, it may be nil. Now I need to save a value here, so let's move here again. Now I'm going to call the move to my info BC screen. So let's modify this screen user user, and let me typecast this one. Okay, so let me fix this one first. So I can pass user. Okay, okay, let me run it again. Nothing will be changed till now, so it should work, but I haven't passed this variable to another view controller. Oops. Okay, so move to my info BC screen. Inside the my info BC screen, I have passed this variable, but this variable should be saved inside the another view controller, that is the my info BC. One thing I should correct here. See, instantiate view controller. This method gives us a view controller, not my info BC or the home BC. So we need to typecast this one. So as and I know that this code must give us the my info BC, so I put my info bc. So now our view controller is my info instance of the my info bc. So I can access bc dot user equal to this one, this value, user. Okay, see, if I will not do this, I will not write, if I don't write this line of code, then see whether it works or not. I should get an error. The reason is simply because this method returns us a general instance of UI view controller, not a myInfoBC. But inside a myInfoBC we have this variable, so we need to typecast that one. That's why I have typecasted here as myInfoBC. Now it works. So now what we are doing is technically we are passing user variable to the myInfoBC. So now let's move on the myInfoBC. So now we have the, when we move from first screen to second screen, then we will have the username and password here in this variable. So let me try to print that. So self, let me print that, print, and username self dot user dot username. Okay, see. Okay, see, I can see here the username is Chandra. So in this view did load method I have printed and I can see. But the thing is, here I can see this one, this variable may be nil, so we need to handle that one. So if variable is nil, means we haven't forwarded the user information from the previous screen, home BC, then we may get this as a nil. In that case, what should we do? We can put empty string. Now let's print here how it works. See, username is this one, and similarly I can print the password also, and password, sorry, okay, username and password. So let me show this user in the screen. So for that, again we need to move on the storyboard. So let's put it on the top left corner, and let's design a bit here. So this is the, let me put this back button, and let me add the constraint. Top, let me put it 0, left, let me put it 20, oh no, let me put 17, and height 35. I think up to this will be sufficient. Top spacing, left spacing, and height. Okay, one more width also we need to give. Now it would be sufficient constraint. Think once again. Top spacing, left spacing, width, and height will be sufficient to for the constraint. Okay, so it is working. Now Let me put one more label here, UI label. Let's not focus more on the design part for now. So label, so where is that? This one, LBL username, and I need to connect with outlet. So let me open here the my info VC, and here this one. So let me make a outlet here, LBL username, and let me show that let me show the username inside that label. So self dot lbl username dot text equal to self dot user dot username, and if I got empty, then let me show not acknowledged or the empty string, just it would be sufficient. Okay, let me run it again. So okay, I can see the username and back is going back. So nothing new here. So what we did is we learned how to pass the information from one view controller to another view controller, first thing. Second thing is some best approaches like not writing all the codes inside the home view controller. Basically view controller is supposed to handle the just switching and the instance, mapping the outlets with the storyboard, and we should try to remove the logical part in the model. So this is the model view controller design pattern. We have the view controller, we have the one model, and the model related logics I wrote here, like a validation. Maybe in the future we can validate these usernames and password with the database, or the we can validate the username and password with the help of the API. So the more stops will be added here. So we learn how to move a particular variable from one view controller to another view controller, and how we can use the concept of the model. That's it, and a few stuff in the storyboard, that is the auto layout. So you can practice all this stuff, and in the next video I will come with more detail. And for now I'm going to put this project in the repo, and I will share the link in the description below. Thank you.